SummerSlam's always felt big. It's meant to feel big. In fact, officially, it's the number 2 event of the big four. Some prefer Royal Rumble, but that's debatable. One thing that's not debatable is WWE is really pushing SummerSlam to make it feel big. In fact, in 2026, it's going to be 2 whole days. We're not there yet, but it is SummerSlam weekend this weekend with the actual event happening Saturday at Cleveland Browns Stadium. And this card is stacked. So speaking about the card, these are my WWE SummerSlam 2024 predictions. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, wrestling opinion videos, reviews of WWE premium live events. There's definitely going to be one coming of SummerSlam. Also, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown. Now, like I said, this card is really stacked. It's hard for me to pick what I think is the main event for me. Of course, we know what the main event is officially. That's coming later. So I'm going to do this in maybe a seemingly half random order. Let's start off with World Heavyweight Champion El Campeón Damian Priest defending against challenger and 2024 King of the Ring General, Gunther. Now, I predicted, as did many others, that Gunther would win the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam even before he won King of the Ring, when he was in the finals and they announced that the winner of King of the Ring would fight for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. It's clear taking the IC title off Gunther was basically a way to give him the World Heavyweight Championship. I was really sure, even to the point where I was kind of not thrilled that Priest was going to be the one going in as the champion at SummerSlam, because I thought they really needed a believable babyface opponent. I thought Rollins was going to win it. That didn't happen. But, fast forward a few weeks, the past few weeks on Raw, they've actually really built this match. They've built up Damian Priest as a babyface champion coming in to defend, coming from the streets, a harsh upbringing versus the pampered silver spoon Gunther. Honestly, Gunther has done as much to make Priest the babyface and himself the mega heel as Priest has and as the WWE booking has, but it's all worked together to the point where I now actually started to think, wait a second, they want to keep Priest as a strong babyface champion, so he should really win this match, and Gunther could win it at Bash at Berlin, the next premium live event, and that might be even better. He'd be a situational babyface. And then I realized they had successfully made this match a really hot match, and they made Priest a really believable challenger. But I'm back to my original prediction. Gunther, who helped make all that happen, is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to beat Damian Priest. Possibly, maybe Judgment Day is going to turn on Priest, something to that effect. And this is going to, speed up Priest's break with the rest of Judgment Day to become a total babyface. And who knows, he might challenge back. He might get a title back. He might get it back at some point. I don't think Gunther's going to keep this belt as long as he kept the Intercontinental title, but he's at least going to keep it for a while. And I think he's going to win it at SummerSlam. For the WWE Women's Championship, the champion Bayley defends against challenger and 2024 Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. Now, I really like how they've been building this new Bayley champion character. They've been building her into a top babyface champion. And it would make sense for her to retain. It would also make sense for Tiffany Stratton to cash in on her, and she retains in the match with Nia, but Tiffany walks out of SummerSlam as the champion. I don't think either of those things are going to happen. I think Nia Jax is going to win. I think Nia Jax is your new WWE Women's Champion, obviously through cheating, maybe with help from Stratton, and that's going to set up the whole feud. Maybe Stratton might take it from Nia Jax shortly after SummerSlam, or maybe she'll take it at SummerSlam, but she's not going to take it from Bayley. She's going to take it from Nia Jax. That's unlikely. There's maybe a 20% chance of that happening. But I definitely think Bayley is not walking out as champion. Nia Jax might win. And then maybe in the future, Stratton takes it off Jax and Bayley gets it back from Stratton. Bayley's going to have the championship again. In fact, I think she's going to walk into WrestleMania in 2025 as the champion and retain it. But I'm almost sure, my prediction, Nia Jax defeats Bayley, and walks out of SummerSlam as the WWE Women's Champion. For the Intercontinental Championship, the champion Sami Zayn defends against challenger Braun Breaker. I don't mind making wrong predictions, but one wrong prediction I will never allow myself to make is to predict Sami Zayn will lose and he wins. I am such a huge Sami Zayn fan from Montreal. And emotionally, I definitely want him to retain. Now, logically speaking, I think it very well may be Braun Breaker. It might be Braun Breaker's time. And I've also done a whole video and mentioned in another video how I think maybe a week or two after SummerSlam, Zayn and Jey Uso take advantage of the fact that they beat Balor and McDonough in a non-title match and become the World Tag Team Champions. And then they maybe fight the WWE Tag Team Champions, who would be the members of the New Bloodline, setting up the whole Bloodline Civil War. It makes logical sense. And Zayn not being Intercontinental Champion does help in all of that. So I would be perfectly fine with Braun Breaker winning. Logically, I think he is going to win. It makes the most sense. But my prediction from an emotional place and from the fact that I never want to be wrong by predicting Sami Zayn's going to lose when he wins, my prediction, cut me some slack on this one, Sami Zayn retains. For the United States Championship, the champion Logan Paul defends against challenger LA Knight. Yeah, I think LA Knight is going to win. In fact, you know what? LA Knight has to win this one. If they care at all about maintaining his momentum, not everyone needs a championship, but I think LA Knight at this point does. I didn't really see how it helped him having him fight Roman last year for the championship when we all knew he was going to lose, although it did, I guess, build his brand. And also I think that's what the people in Saudi Arabia wanted. That's why he fought him there. And then in the 4-way match, but he really should have gone for the United States Championship then, and he definitely should be going for it now, and he's got to win. Logan Paul will still be Logan Paul, will still have all the major heat, even if he doesn't have the championship. And he might win it back. He might have an ongoing feud. This isn't the end of the feud if Logan Paul loses. It might be the end of the feud and maybe the end of his push if LA Knight loses. So yes, Logan's going to try and cheat. I don't know how they're going to do it, but my prediction, which I think has to happen, this is the one I'm probably the most sure of all the matches, except for maybe the last one. LA Knight, your new United States champion. Yeah. Next on our list, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. Of all the matches on the card, this is the one that's not for any championship or even a number one contender spot or any kind of title like that. This is also probably one of the most interesting, most anticipated matches on the card as well, too. We're talking like 6 months of build with hardly any physicality and one of the competitors being on the injury list. Now, who's going to win? I don't know. And frankly, I don't really care. I just want to see this match. This is going to be excellent. What I predict is that it's going to be brutal. If I predict there actually might be blood in this match. I know WWE tries to avoid one of the competitors getting color, but it might happen in this match. Probably Punk. Definitely Seth Rollins is going to get involved in a more physical capacity than just being the referee. Also, I predict his referee outfit is going to be incredibly outlandish, but I think everyone knows that. Okay, I guess I have to make a prediction. Double disqualification. So that means Seth Rollins actually wins as the referee if he disqualifies both of those people. It's going to set up another match. I mean, one of them might pin the other, but it's not ending here. This feud is going to hit like a high point here, but it's going to continue maybe into a triple threat match, or maybe just a match with Seth, or maybe something in a Hell in a Cell or a street fight. I think this might turn into a street fight on the spot. Seth Rollins says he can do whatever he wants, so I think he's going to do what he wants. I think he's going to do what the crowd wants. I think this is going to leave the ring, obviously. It's going to get very brutal. I think CM Punk might get that bracelet back from Drew, because I think that would be a victory for CM Punk if he gets that bracelet back. I'm looking incredibly forward to this match, but my loose prediction, double disqualification. For the Women's World Championship, the champion Liv Morgan defends against former champion Rhea Ripley. Okay, there's a few ways to look at this match. First of all, who would logically be the one to win? Who is the more dominant? Well, that's clearly Rhea Ripley. She was dominant for more than a year as champion. In fact, she never lost the championship. She had to give it up because of the attack. And now she's actually really, really angry. So it makes sense she'd demolish Liv Morgan. Also, you can look at it in terms of the fact that Rhea was never supposed to have vacated the title. That was a complete accident because of an injury. She obviously was going to feud with Liv Morgan. Maybe it was going to lead to this match at SummerSlam. And Rhea was maybe going to still dominate. But what happened. And let's look at the current storyline. Now, the current storyline has that eventually Dominic Mysterio decided to side or stay with Mommy and insulted Liv, and now Liv's really upset. But I think we're in for a bit of a swerve. I think at the last minute, Dominic Mysterio is going to cheat for Liv. And even though Rhea's going to dominate the entire match and almost win, maybe there'll be a ref bump or something, and Dominic will cheat for Liv, and Liv Morgan will retain. And don't get me wrong, Rhea Ripley will eventually get this title off Liv Morgan, in fact, probably at the next PLE. And the feud will continue, but Rhea's going to go on being a dominant champion. But I think the storytelling is too good not to have Rhea lose as a massive babyface, and that'll further her and Priest becoming the two babyfaces without the championships against Judgment Day, which has some championships. It doesn't have the World Heavyweight Championship because I don't think Gunther is joining Judgment Day, but it definitely would have the Women's World Championship. And that would be an amazing story going down the road. And I think for that to happen, we're in for a major swerve. And the one who shouldn't win does. And through cheating, Liv Morgan retains. For the undisputed WWE Championship, the champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, defends against challenger and self-proclaimed new tribal chief of the bloodline, Solo Sikoa. Now, I think two things going into this match. First of all, Cody Rhodes isn't going to lose the title this quickly. He's going to last longer than SummerSlam from WrestleMania. He's probably not going to have as long a reign as Roman did, and he will eventually lose the title, maybe even before WrestleMania. But I think ultimately we're going to maybe him fighting with Randy Orton as champion, and the whole Orton Rhodes feud doesn't work if Cody's not the undisputed WWE champion, because that's basically Orton turning his back on his brother, his friend, for the title. So I think at least in this match, Cody needs to retain. But also, Solo's made it big that if you lose, you're disappointing the bloodline. That's why he replaced Roman. So if you want to keep Solo's new bloodline strong, he needs a bit of an out. Obviously, there's going to be some interference from maybe Jacob Fatu, and obviously Jacob Fatu, maybe the Tongas as well, too. So if there's a ref bump or something, somebody's got to come in on Cody's side and help out Cody. Now, it could be Roman Reigns. Maybe Roman Reigns. I'm not sure. It would be interesting if he's the reason why Solo doesn't win. Maybe he's like, I'm going to take you out, not because I'm buddies with Cody, but because you are not the tribal chief. That might happen. I heard another prediction online, can't remember where, that it actually would be a returning Brock Lesnar if he solved his issues with, PR, what have you, returning to help out someone who he respects, Cody Rhodes, against a group he hates, the Bloodline. Maybe it's Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. I'm not sure who it's going to be. I'm not going to predict who's going to run in, but I definitely think Cody is going to get some help to counter the Bloodline interference. So Solo's going to have his out. And still your undisputed WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So these are my WWE SummerSlam 2024 predictions. One final prediction, this is going to be a wild show. And I kind of like the fact that Miz and probably R-Truth too are the hosts. I think that's rather appropriate. I don't really know Jelly Roll, but I'm looking forward to his performance as well too. And usually I don't look forward to musical performances in wrestling shows unless they're performing or singing a wrestler out to the ring. I think there's going to be surprises as well too. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Wrestling on X, at Silo Voice Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, ring that bell for notifications. I will have my assorted thoughts on Raw, that promised review of seeing Slammiversary from TNA in person. I'll try and get a wrestling opinion video out as well, too. And of course, you will ultimately have my assorted thoughts on the SmackDown before SummerSlam and my review of SummerSlam. All coming up. Good stuff. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.